just as we've recently seen the Venezuelan government uncovering false flag operations being planned to try to trigger the beginning of a war. And when they start their wars, we notice this increasingly with the imperialists today, they need to be able to show a narrative to the world that says the other side started it. And they're constantly trying to create conditions where they can say that. I mean, it's always them who starts it. But they try to create some kind of event or media package that they can sell to the world, and their media obediently transmits everywhere that says they started it. So we know that with for example, when Russia launched the SMO in Ukraine, our media went into hysterical overdrive. Vladimir Putin woke up yesterday and was a genocidal maniac and just decided to invade Ukraine. And the history of what had been going on in Ukraine for 30 years and 10 years and 8 years disappeared. And even the fact that the NATO forces themselves had been building up along the border of Donbass, getting ready to launch a major offensive, when finally Russia, having waited 8 years for a peace process that didn't work, said we're going to have to step in, and was forced to step in. But the narrative management in the West was, Russia just woke up and invaded its neighbor. They're crazy, you know. And we had the press full of articles about Vladimir Putin's psychology. You know, but that's part of the propaganda campaign, isn't it? How they persuade the public that the West, the imperialists, are the peace lovers, while they go around provoking all their wars. Well, we see them doing something last year, at the end of last year, we saw a string of provocations that were meant to trigger war between South Korea and North Korea. South Korea basically being also the USA, right? Between the USA and the DPRK, in such a way that the propaganda narrative could be spun that the DPRK just randomly started a war. And we see the same thing they're trying to do with Venezuela. First, there's lots of all this propaganda about how Venezuela is a terrorist state, is a drug dealing state. I mean, a bounty on the head of a president. You know, there's like they're playing in a gangster film. You see the low level of cultural awareness of the general population that the leadership thinks it can give them these kind of cowboys and Indians sort of, you know, good guys, bad guys, you know, TV, Hollywood narratives. It's risible, actually, what they say. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, if President Maduro is a member of this narco-trafficking terrorist gang, why did you suddenly only just notice this last week? What was he doing for the last 10 years? Why we never... Just yesterday.
A war on drugs, it's a war on oil. That's all.
Of course. But it's becoming more clear to people, isn't it?